Welcome to Chai and Book Girl. My name is Amanda, and this is my corner of YouTube where we talk about the books that I have read, the books that I am reading, the books that I think you should be reading. And today we are going to do a January wrap up, all the books that I have read for January, and we're just going to kind of really quickly yes, no, maybe these. I read 27 books in January, which even for me, that's a lot of books. So, in lieu of doing really in depth synopsis and reviews of all of these books, we're just going to kind of do a yes, no, maybe, and then maybe just a quick um, kind of review what I thought about them. And then maybe at another time, I can go a little bit more in depth on some of the highlights. So, with that being said, let's get started. So, the first book I read for January was Santa's Pucking Hat Trick. This is by Lisa Cullen, and I'm going to give this a maybe. This is a hockey, why choose, spicy, um, kind of romance. It's not going to be for everybody. I know not everybody likes the reverse harem, why choose genre. So that's why it's going to be a maybe. Dreams Fall by R.L. Calder. Yes, on this one. I enjoyed this one. This was an arc that I received from her, and it was wonderful. This was a romantasy. This was the first book, the beginning of a new series that she has written. Everything by R.L. Calder that I have read has been wonderful. She has a great writing style. All of her characters are very well done. They have depth, they have lots of emotion, and you are really invested in these characters and where their stories are going. This is a past lives, and it does end on a cliffhanger. So just be aware of that. He Sees You When You're Sleeping by Alta Hensley. Again, this is a yes from me. This is a stalker dark romance. This isn't going to be for everybody, but I enjoyed it. It's not black and white. It's it's a stalker romance, but it kind of goes into the mental and emotional um, mind of the stalker and what he is thinking and why he is doing what he's doing and the kind of torment that he goes through and why he just can't seem to help himself. And so it does get a little bit more in depth. I enjoyed it. Would You Be Mine by Daphne Elliott. I really liked this book. This is a yes from me. Great humor, dry, witty, so funny. This was a romance between a vice principal of a school and a lumberjack, like real true, not he just looks like a lumberjack, he is a lumberjack. And this book was hilarious. I laughed out loud throughout this book. It was so funny. It was cute. It dealt with some really kind of sensitive topics, but it dealt with them very well. And the characters were not only were they cute and they were funny, but they also had a lot of really good emotional depth in the situations that they had to deal with. And I really enjoyed this one. This was a yes from me. Pretty Vicious by Lexi Davis. This was another arc that I received, and this is a yes from me. However, this is not going to be for everybody, so make sure you read your trigger warnings on this one. This is a dark academia, bullying, romance. It's not going to be for everybody, so make sure you're reading your trigger warnings on this as it does deal with a lot of sensitive subjects. We have our female main character who is a pizza delivery person, and she makes a really fateful pizza delivery one night and sees something that she shouldn't, and so is basically kidnapped and held hostage so that she can't talk. And the male main character, the one who has taken her captive, and her form this relationship. He is the president of this frat house, which is where she is being held hostage. And there is a lot of really good tension. This is a dark romance, so there is a lot of dark themes in this, but I did enjoy it. You can see the relationship between them grow, even though it's not a traditional romance in the sense that both of them are dealing with a lot of trauma, and the trauma kind of bonds them together, and they find a way to be together and to love each other even through the trauma and the broken parts of themselves. And I enjoyed that. She wrote it very well. I thought she dealt with the mental issues and the trauma very well. But again, please read your trigger warnings, as this does deal with a lot of dark themes and elements. Grandma's House by Amy Tackett. This one, literally, I'm going to say maybe on this one, but this was only 26 pages. I read this in about 15 minutes, and my review literally just says, what the hell? This book was crazy for only being 26 pages. It's a horror novella, if I can even call it a novella. It's a horror pamphlet, and it is crazy. I mean, I don't even understand how she packed that much craziness in 26 pages, but she did. I'm saying maybe because, again, it is horror. You're going to get to the end of this pamphlet and you're going to be like, what the hell did I just read? What is this? As I did. I gave it 3 stars because it was only 26 pages. And so that kind of shocked me. And I was like, what? Where's the rest of it? But for only 26 pages, she packs a lot of crazy in there. So, anyway, there you go. You can make your own decision about it. We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. I am going to give this one a maybe. I gave it 3 stars. I liked it, but I thought it was too long. It was way longer than it needed to be. It had a lot of really great elements in this book. I mean, we had vampires, we have kind of like a Hunger Games vibe where they're in trials and they're in games and things like that, where they're, fighting for their lives. We have a romance element. We have a magical system that still kind of I don't really understand because it's not really fleshed out very well, but it's it gets to a point where it gets to be kind of repetitive. And I didn't think that the book needed to be as long as it was. I thought it was too long. Like it could have been wrapped up and like way sooner. There's no reason that it needed to be as long as it did. One in a series, so there is another book coming out that I'm hoping will answer some of the questions that I am left with after finishing this book. So I don't know. I will probably read the second book. Hopefully, it will not be as long because I did enjoy a lot of the elements of this book. I thought the premise was there. There's a lot of promise in this. I just thought it was too long, and I thought that it was a bit repetitive. Hollyhocks by January Rain. This is the latest book in her Monster Stalker series. I read the previous 3. I enjoyed the first 2. The last 2 not so much. I'm going to give this one a no. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I would not reread this, and this book is not going to be for everybody. In fact, there's probably only a small subset of people that it will be for. It is very dark. This is a dark romance, monster erotica, and this has a lot of blood. It is very gory. It is even the spicy scenes in this are very gory and very bloody, and it was not something it is not something that I enjoy reading if it's not a horror. I read that in horror novels because I go in expecting that, and that's what I want to read. But when I'm reading a monster romance or a monster erotica, that is not what I am looking for. And so I like January Rain. I think she's a really good author, but I think for this particular book, she just went a little bit too far, and it was not something that I particularly enjoyed. So this one gets a no from me. You're No Saint, Nick by Carly Clare. This one is a yes for me, but I am going to caveat this by saying please read your trigger warnings. The beginning of this book was difficult to read and deals with some seriously disturbing and very hard content. It's very sensitive, and so please make sure that you're reading this trigger warning before you begin, because the beginning of this book is very hard to read. However, it sets us up, and this female main character, as we're reading what happens to her at the beginning of this book, after it's done, we get into the best female rage revenge story ever. It is the best. I loved it. I loved this book. If you love female rage, if you love female revenge and getting back, if you love the villains getting their comeuppance in the end, then this is a good book for you. But she has to go, she has to go through some things in order for us to get there. And those things are really, at least for me, they were difficult to read, but I did get through it. And it really makes you, you have to get through that part in order for you to understand why the rest of the book happens. So I get it, but yeah, it was difficult. So this is a yes from me. The Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre by Philip Fracassi. I'm going to give this one a yes. I actually really enjoyed this book. We have a retirement home full of retirement and overage people. We have a lot of them are being killed by a murderer, a serial killer at this point, and nobody believes them because it's a retirement home and it's where people go to die. And when older people die, it just, it's natural. It's, this is, that's what's supposed to happen to older people, is they're supposed to die. And so the police don't believe these residents, the detectives don't believe the residents, that a serial killer is after them, and nobody believes what is going on. And while this is a horror novel, it actually kind of deals with a lot of emotional subjects, especially for people of that age, what they deal with, what emotional turmoil and mental things that they have to go through at that age. And it deals with kind of a lot of things that I didn't even realize that, you know, people of a certain age have to deal with, not only physically, you know, aging of our bodies, and mentally the aging of our minds, but also the emotional toil that it takes on us when you're in a home and, you know, nobody's coming to visit you. You know, your family has kind of written you off in some cases, your children don't come and see you in a lot of cases, or you know, you're trying to express thoughts, and you're trying to express things, and nobody will listen to you because of your age, and they think that you're, you know, you have Alzheimer's. It deals a lot with ageism and a lot of um, a lot of the things that come with that, but from, you know, their point of view, which was very, almost, it was very heartbreaking in some places, and kind of really made me think. So anyway, that was a very long explanation. This was a yes from me. I really enjoyed this book, and I recommend you pick it up. If you have issues, or if you have a sensitivity to older people being killed, and the descriptions of that, if that hurts you, or if that doesn't sit well with you, then I would give this one a skip. To the Wolf Billionaire by April Moon. This is part of a series that I have been listening to on audiobook. I'm going to give this one a yes. I enjoy this series. Wolf shifters, fated mates, really easy to listen to, really, really good. I like the characters. In this book particularly, the characters are really good. Not a whole lot of character depth, but I do really like the characters. I like April Moon, and so this is a yes from me. Unlock by Kirsten Moglen. This was part of my TBR list that I pulled for January. This is a yes from me. I actually did enjoy this. It had a whole lot of elements that I love. We have a kind of supernatural haunted house element. We have romance. And at the end, it all just kind of comes together. And I really enjoyed the ending of this. Now, this is told in dual timelines. We are told this whole story throughout a dual timeline. So we kind of go back and forth between the past and the present, and that is how we are getting the full picture of this story. So if you don't enjoy that, this book won't be for you. I did enjoy that, kind of seeing the past and the present and how they've come together. And so I did enjoy this book. This is a yes from me. The Last Word by Taylor Adams. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, this book took me on a roller coaster. I listened to this on audiobook. I do recommend it. The narrator did a fantastic job. This was a dual narration. Holy cow, this book was crazy, and I loved every single minute of it. This book literally, and I'm not even kidding you, made me think twice about leaving a less than stellar book review on Amazon. I'm not gonna lie, it freaked me out, because what if the author finds me and decides to come after me? Anyway, I just gave you the whole premise of the book, but this is a yes from me. Pick this up. This is a great thriller. Oh my goodness. This is the first book I've actually read by Taylor Adams, and I will be reading all the books by Taylor Adams, because what a great thriller. It was really good. Highly recommend this book. Fated to the Alpha Bear by Reese Barden. This was an ARC that I received. This is a yes from me. This is the second book in the Bear Shifter series. It was really good. This is Bodhi's story. So if you know anything about the Shifter series, this is kind of a continuation of the brothers. We got the first brother story in the first book, and now we're continuing on with the second brother in this book. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Please read your trigger warnings. It does deal with some sensitive topics. But it was a good read. I enjoyed it, and it's a yes for me. How to Survive a Horror Story by Mallory Arnold. This is a maybe from me. I don't know that this is going to be for everybody. As the title implies, this is a horror story, but I kind of found it a little bit slow. This is not a very plot driven story. This is very much a character driven story. And so if you don't mesh with the characters, then you're not going to enjoy this book, because that's really all there is to this. This is a group of authors that are invited to a will reading in this haunted house, this haunted mansion, and they are subsequently trapped there, and they have to solve a series of riddles in order to survive and be able to leave alive. And the horror element of it was cool. The house that's haunted and that murders people. I mean, that's a cool element, and I enjoyed that. But I mean, this is going to be a maybe from me, because it's if you're not if you're a plot driven person for your books, then you're not going to enjoy this. So, On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin. This is a yes from me. This is Fourth Wing with vampires, basically. So we have last of her kind. She is a dragon rider. She is half fae. She is put into this academy where they hate her. We have elite vampires that treat her terrible. And the only reason I didn't give this 5 stars is because this is literally a book about dragons. She's a dragon rider. Dragons have been extinct now for centuries, and so she doesn't really have a purpose. But we don't see any dragons at all in this entire book. I mean, I went into this book understanding that dragons had been extinct, but usually when they say that, we know that the dragons are coming back. But we didn't even see any hint of dragons until the last page, which kind of disappointed me. And so that's why I didn't give this 5 stars. But this is a yes. This is the first of a series. And so the second book hopefully will be full of dragons, and I will love that. So this is a yes. The Intruder by Frida McFadden. This is a maybe from me. This is a maybe from me. The only reason I'm not saying that it's a yes is because I enjoyed this book, with the exception that normally you kind of have to suspend your belief a little bit when reading books, which I get that, and I'm totally happy to do that. That's not a big deal for me. But this book, having to suspend my belief that much, like that's a lot even for me. So yeah, I don't know. This isn't maybe. I like Frida McFadden. She writes great, short, snappy little popcorn thrillers, and so I like that. Sometimes I'm in the mood for that. I did enjoy the ending of this. I thought that it kind of came full circle, although honestly, Frida, could you not have given us like another page? Seriously, why did you have to end it like that? There's no reason for that. But yeah, so I'm going to give this a maybe. You can try it out if you want to, but be prepared to suspend your belief quite a bit with that one. So Tasting Red by Holly Roberts. This was another pull from my TBR jar for January. I'm going to give this one a maybe. I enjoyed it as far as it goes. This is a Red Riding Hood is a Red Riding Hood retelling. That's a mouthful. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. So we have the Big Bad Wolf, we have Red, we have Cinderella, Cinder, we have, anyway, so we've got a play upon all of the fairy tale characters that we know and love, but this is turned upside down and on its head, and everyone is not as they are in the fairy tales at all. This is kind of a romance, but it's also dark. It's the first in a series. And I don't know that I'm going to be continuing the series. So Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is a yes from me. We are back in the world of Phantasma. This is the second book about the sister Genevieve. I really enjoyed this one too. Phantasma, I gave 5 stars. I loved that book. I was very excited to read Enchantra. I've been wanting to read this forever and finally was able to pick it up. I did not love this one as much as I loved Phantasma. This one only got 4.5 stars, where Phantasma got 5. Only because I found that the games that she had to go through in this were not as detailed and not as tension filled as Phantasma. She didn't do as good of a job in the descriptions as she did in Phantasma with this one. And also, it got a little bit repetitive. I felt like where Phantasma, very original, had a lot of really great elements in it with each game. This one I felt like was a bit repetitive, and in fact, they skipped over one of the games entirely. Just anyway, it was kind of weird. Like she kind of I don't know, like she just kind of phoned it in a little bit on the games. And so anyway, it wasn't as good in that element as Phantasma, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the characters. Again, very great characters. I loved all the elements of them. And so this is a yes from me. Dear Enemy by Kristen Callahan. This was another one of my TBR picks for January. This is about a chef who goes to be a live-in assistant for her childhood enemy. Her sister has stolen something from him, and he requires her to work it off, work the debt off as his personal chef. And them being together, they catch feelings for each other, and they kind of have to work through this childhood trauma or the childhood hatred that they had for each other, and work through all of those things that happened in their childhood in order for them to kind of come together as adults. This is a romance. I enjoyed it. This is a yes from me, and I liked it. Hated by AJ Merlin. As you can see, AJ Merlin is one of my favorite authors. I really like her. This is the final book in the Pleasure and Prey series, and she is a genius when it comes to writing serial killer, stalker type books where they are unhinged killers. Like there's just no getting around it. They're unhinged killers, and yet we want them to come and stalk us and love us. And it's just, I love the way she writes these books. This isn't a long book, it's a very short, very quick, action packed. I love the way that she writes characters that have a lot of trauma. They're broken inside. They know that they're psychopaths. They know that they're not right in the head, but those are the things that bring them together and bond them and make them fall in love and make them perfect for each other. And you can, even though you're broken and even though you're not perfect, you can still find love. And I love that about the way that AJ Merlin writes. So this is a yes from me. The whole series is fantastic, and I recommend reading it. if you like those kind of books. Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. This is a maybe from me. This is not my favorite Riley Sager book. I've read others that I liked way more, but it was okay. I enjoyed it. I listened to it on audio. I thought the narrator did a good job. This book builds you up through the whole entire book, that it's supernatural, that there's ghosts, that there's some spooky, creepy, supernatural presence here that's happening, that's going on. And all of this buildup throughout the whole book is happening. And then at the end, it ends up being so mundane and so lame. And I did not like the end at all. I did love one character, the little kid character, Henry. Absolutely adored him. He had my heart. He was so cute. But the ending just didn't really do it for me. So I don't know. It's a maybe for me. I wouldn't reread it, but it was okay. Avenging Anna by Kate Oliver. This is a continuation of her Syndicate Kings series. I love all of her books in the Syndicate Kings. This is Patrick's story. This is a Daddy Dom book. If you enjoy Daddy Dom books, you'll really like it. But I enjoyed it. I like anything by Kate Oliver. I think she's a great writer. She is about the only author that I can read this genre and enjoy it. I tend to not like any of the other authors in this genre. She's about the only one I can read. So I did enjoy this book. It's a yes from me, but again, this is not everybody's cup of tea. Valentine's Sleigh by Nevessa Allen. I listened to this on audiobook. This is part of an Amazon original series that they're doing for Valentine's Day. And I really liked this one, actually. It was funny. It starts out comedy all over the place, but it's very macabre and very morbid and very, which I like. I enjoy that. We have our main character who is a grave digger. That is his job. He works in the cemetery, and he ends up hearing screams one night and follows them to a freshly plotted grave. The woman who was just buried is not dead, it turns out. So he digs her up. It is a crush that he had in high school, and together they enact revenge upon the person who has put her in this grave. And it is great. It has spice in it, it has tension in it. It does deal with spousal abuse, domestic abuse in this. So if that is something you're sensitive to, please be aware of that. But I really enjoyed it. This was a yes for me. A Fellowship of Fakers and Magic by Jay Penner. This is a yes for me. This was a cute, cozy, kind of a fantasy with just a little dash touch of romance in it, but it was mostly about found family. A baker, this non-magical human, goes to a baking competition put on by elves, and nobody realizes that she does not have magic because everything that she bakes is baked with love. And so that is magic. That is the magical thing about her. And she ends up meeting an elf that they fall in love, and it's so cute. She ends up making friends with other bakers, and they become her found family. And it's such a cute, cozy story. It's really adorable. The food descriptions and the way that she doesn't have any magic, but the way that she bakes things, and you can tell that there's magic in it, and it was just super cute. So this is a yes from me. Dirty Priest by Samantha Barrett. Okay, this is a maybe from me, but I really liked it. This is not going to be for everybody. This is basically a PWP with religious vibes. And she tells you at the end of this book that you now have to go say 100 Hail Marys, which, yes, after you read this book, you are going to have to do some sort of penance after you read this, especially if you enjoyed it, which I did. This is a dirty book and has a priest in it. I will say no more. And last we have Toxic by Nicole Blanchard. I listened to this one on audio. I highly recommend listening to this one on audio. The male narrator of this audiobook about put me in a coma. I cannot recommend the audio enough. And yes, he does say good girl several times in this audio. I thought I was going to have a stroke every time he said it. Okay, this is a dark romance. And when I say dark, I mean it's dark. This is about a nurse in a prison, and one of the inmates takes a liking to her, becomes obsessed with her, ends up forcing her to break him out of said prison. And it kind of gets even crazier and darker and wilder from there. I really enjoyed this book. It's a yes from me. I highly recommend the audio for this. So, again, please read trigger warnings on this one. This is a very dark romance. It does deal with a lot of sensitive issues, including domestic abuse, and it does get very bloody and very gory at times. There is a sequence and a scene in this book that deals with torture that is extremely difficult to listen to. But anyway, just make sure you read the trigger warnings for this one. But this is a yes from me and a double yes on the audio. Okay, so that was 27 books for January. I hope you guys got some recommendations for your own that you can put in your TBR for the coming months, and that this was helpful and gave you some ideas about some books that you can read. Until next time, bye.